Welcome back to One of My Podcasting. So, I have, much like other men and women out there, start of the new year, you start thinking, and then with Valentine's Day quickly approaching, I do think about dating, even at my age. This is what, man, we're talking about 30 years going at this, huh? And unsuccessfully. Like, why do I want to put myself through more abuse? And I'm willing to do it. Something wrong with me. I don't know why, but because for the most part, when you don't have it, when you haven't had that regular companionship and that love and that looking after somebody and having somebody that really, adores you and appreciates you and really doesn't want to let you go. And how I see other guys get that kind of girl, and I'm like, even though they're not perfect, even though there's going to be fights and arguments and things and try to make things work and sacrifices made. I mean, I look at what I go through for myself. And I think the freedom I have as I record this show tonight, and I'm saying to myself, man, things are still very good. I mean, I'm happily single. I really feel that way. I enjoy my work. I need to explore more of going out and enjoying myself and just enjoying life and traveling more, which is hopefully something I'm going to be doing soon, but I'm going to wait for masks and curfews and all this other crap in other countries to get done so I can go freely to travel once again and enjoy myself. But one thing is, it is something about dating and, when I just go ahead and if I'm just making eye contact with a woman that catches my fancy, and I'll smile, and it's like there's so many women that just do not want to respond back, not willing to. And I'm not doing it with every girl, but I see a lot of girls that I'll see, and if there's any I can find, first of all, let me just put it like that. If I come across any, which is rare, it doesn't happen all the time, and I'll just put myself out there and I'll kind of look and I'll try to talk, but I'm not shooting my shot as much because I'm just waiting for somebody to actually come across and make me feel like, yeah, they're interested. Well, women have that a lot as well, because there are a lot of people that are they've checked out of dating. They're checked out. They're not actively dating. Pima Bakshi here at Refinery 29 talks about, I'm single and I'm not dating. Why is it so hard for people to understand? Okay, because you look at her, she looks like a young girl next door, sweet, smart and independent woman. And she's attractive. So she gets asked, are you dating anyone? Which is, I'm not surprised about young men and women that are not dating anymore. It's not, I feel like it's more common than you think. And I would hope more men and women realize, okay, then you know what? Then maybe some of the roles of dating where the guy needs to ask, well, we're tired of asking. We're done, man. Not because of rejection. It's because even if we do date, it's always some other ulterior motive or something else that just doesn't feel right. Or that woman is not going to be invested like we are. So anyway, single people who aren't actively dating, the pressure to give the people what they want can weigh a bit heavy, she says. Though we're arguably evolved enough as a society to know that a person isn't doomed to a life of unhappiness if they aren't married before the age of 35. The reality of singledom in 2022 is still relatively fraught. For every person that assumes your life is a montage of quirky dating stories and all-night banners, there are at least a dozen more who assume you spend your nights evening crying over microwave meals. For those of us in between, which is myself as well, I'll count myself as present company, we tend to find ourselves fielding a lot from our peers. The questions, the queries, the sympathy. Friends and relationships either want to live vicariously through you, make it their mission to set you up with anyone they know is a free agent, compatibility be damned, or worse yet, they shy away from talking about relationships with you at all, assuming it's a sore point, because everyone who's single must be heartbroken, right? But I don't miss any of that either. I used to have friends that would be in relationships and all, and I was like, I don't give a shit, man. Part of the thing is women and getting friend zoned, that's not what I want to be a part of now. It's the same thing with men. I don't want to be in the zone where it's okay, we can't talk about shit. I want to be able to, talk about whatever. And even finding close friends that are guys, that's also kind of tough as well. So everything's kind of everybody's at an arm's distance with me. Put it like that. The common misconception, she says, is that there's something more to being single than simply not being with. It's the premise for about 80% of the shows and films we consume, making it a huge part of social media use, and it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. The entertainment of it all is easy to see. Romance is a messy part of life, ripe for drama, plenty to get stuck for us into as voyeurs. The common misperception is that more to being single is simply not being with someone. It's best in the questions that after we reveal we're not currently dating. She also there's another part where there's somebody she speaks to here and says, quote, I'm on dating apps, so I do go on the occasional date, but I'm really not interested in spending too much time with someone right now. But when I say I went on a date, usually a lackluster experience, people want you to spill every salacious detail. Well, there's really not much to say beyond it was a good or bad time. And that's exactly where I'm at too. Yeah, it's not like I got some fruitful, overbearing, exciting life. Like I'm traveling all over the place. I'm buying different things and I'm meeting all these amazing, listen, I haven't been out, traveling in years. This whole pandemic kind of put a wrench on everybody. And, I'm not like binge watching shows to kind of talk about this with everybody else. No. But I'm doing podcasts. So I can talk about current events all you want or certain issues. But my life is consumed with work. I work and I stay busy I stay busy when it's not busy. It's the way it is. And I can't just sit down, just watch TV. I just can't sit down and do certain things. Hell, it's tough for me to even sit down and go have a meal, like if I go to a restaurant. Like, I'm not worried about going to a restaurant, sitting down, at the bar at a table to go ahead and grab food. No, but it's like, I just don't worry about it. I'm moving myself along so much, not paying attention to it. On the other hand, if you're not dating, people in your life can tend to assume the reasons for that and worse, ask for explanations. Lil Nas X talked about this in an interview, splitting with his partner, Yai Ariza, which was, he said, the most serious relationship he has ever had. I like his answer here. He was asked what went wrong. He expressed to GQ magazine that the act of love and being in a relationship is a responsibility. Yes, absolutely right. He said, quote, I've been wanting somebody for so long and wanting somebody to love for so long, but it's a real responsibility. You have to give this person your time. And I like to go missing for like a week to focus, not to talk to anyone. And I'm more in love with what I'm doing than people. Yeah, I feel that same way, Lil Nas X. You're absolutely right. Good job, Montero. Quote, I still feel like I want to hang out with these guys every now and then, but I don't want anything that's not to be a whore or anything, but I don't want anything that's like, I need your time right now. That's good too. On the money. I agree 100%. Though most of us have full-time job, an issue that faces single women in particular is that we're often painted as having chosen ambition over our careers over our personal lives. So how are you supposed to be around your single friends? She concludes and says, if you're guilty of getting them the third degree, absolutely normal. There's no use skirting around the topic because that's not pleasant for anyone. But a little self-awareness never goes astray. And now let me move on to a story from The Guardian that talks about how the dating apps are bringing out the worst of men. Well, it's bringing the worst out in everybody. Because now dating apps, nobody's really trying to interact. Okay, it's just like social media. To get certain kinds of engagement is damn near impossible unless you're popular. Unless you're doing something out there where you're really exposing yourself and you're making yourself vulnerable. That's what I feel like you have to do. Apps like Tinder and Hinge give straight men unfettered access to women, a new sense of boldness through a seemingly endless set of options. But, I mean, I don't feel like you're getting anything from any of this stuff. Now, one of the stories I talk about is West Elm Caleb, a guy who got outed on TikTok for allegedly dating multiple women he'd met on dating apps all at the same time. Which, hey, if you want to go and do that, float your boat, it's not smart. I mean, that's one thing to be talking to different women at the same time. But then dating them at the same time exactly like that, that's no. Now, in the story they talk about that, no, dating apps did not invent misogyny or womanizers, but they gave straight men, unfettered access to women. They gave them a new sense of boldness through a seemingly endless set of options, giving them the ability to decide with a flick of a finger whether a woman was hot or not enough for them to date or have sex with. Well, same thing for the girls. Don't blame it. It goes both ways. The effect of all this straight male psychology is something she's discussed in this article, because it was Nancy Josales, a female, that wrote this story. She spoke to various professionals, I'm going to just say, making a documentary film and reporting several more articles in a book. But you don't have to be a PhD to see that dating apps privilege the male gaze and give straight men the outsized idea of their power in their dealings with women. And that they have ruined men. No. Dating apps have created a bigger wall for women. Okay? We just can't meet you on the street anymore and shoot our shot. Now we have these dating apps, which is just a bigger barrier. You can't talk to a girl and get on the phone like, oh, I'll talk to you. And it's texting, right? Or it's Snapchatting. Or it's messaging somewhere else. That's not even a phone number. So you're not even sure if you're going to be able to stay attached to that person at all. Because women, to their credit, listen, they can use the apps that are out there and the messengers and just say, okay, well, I don't have to keep myself, attached to this guy at all. So by not feeling like, listen, if we still had the point where we still had phone numbers, probably be a different story. Because that's the whole point. The technology has given a paywall for us to access women, for the most part. Well, actually, no, for the most part. Because Tinder you have to pay for. I mean, you want to go to any of their sites, you're paying $30 to $100 a month to get on there for access. And then some of the sites that more girls will trust more, like a Seeking Arrangement, you have to pay $120 a month for that, or $200 a month. So the investment of the guy validates to the woman. Plus, all the things they have when it comes to registering the guy and making sure that he is legit. And he's been validated. And he's been vetted. Verified, right? There's all that part. So she brings her point here, and I get that part. But the apps, she wants to put it on men. But it's also the fact that women have this new barrier, this nice big fence. It's almost like a big chastity belt. So guys, it's much tougher for us to date. So we're doing more crazy things to try to go and talk to girls. Multiple girls, and not taking as a, not, it might have been that men have been ruined by it. But that's technology that did it. It disrupted the way that dating was. And I think men and women really need that emotional, that first person-to-person component, that body language. If you don't have that, what do you have? Well, I guess you don't. I'm going to leave it there, and I'll talk to you next time.